Hello everyone, thanks for coming outside today. A beautiful, bright, sunny, pre-rut fall day here in Pennsylvania. The last of the acorns here are starting to fall. The leaves are starting to come off the trees and the action is starting to heat up in the whitetail woods. But I figured since it's Sunday and I can't hunt, I would come out here and do a video about the string company that I've started to use this year, which is Wicked Threads Custom Strings, a PA-based company right up my alley. And Craig is making these out of the new Bloodline bowstring fiber. So lots of cool stuff to unpack here today. Short video, but let's jump right to it. So if you're a regular follower of the channel, you know that I like the little guys, right? I like the family-owned operations, my local pro shop, supporting local American companies, so on and so forth. Wicked Threads right here in Pennsylvania is no exception. I like shooting bowstrings made from Pennsylvania folks. 60X and Cedar Hill are some I've shot in the past, but most bowstrings come in that $80 to $120 price range. And so when Craig from Wicked Threads reached out and said, hey, would you like to have a set for your cure to give a shot? And quite frankly, I need a new set anyway. Would you like a new set and go ahead and make a review video on it? I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot. And he's like, well, I use the blue Bloodline fibers from Bloodline bowstring fibers. And I was like, I've never used them before. I didn't see it at ATA, although I did see it afterwards. I didn't do any filming there myself. And they're doing a next-gen coating concept, which is making a almost waxless string. So I was like, yeah, let's give it a whirl. So he sent me the set for the cure and I loved it so much, I immediately turned around and bought a set for my Victory, which was in bad need of a new set of string and cables. So no matter who you buy your strings from, the process is exactly the same. You have the bundles of the colors, or if you do one color string and cable and it's just one color, but it's still in bundles, usually an even number, 24, 28, 30, 32, something like that. It's put into a stretching system, it's served and it's stretched, and depending on the amount of tension that's used and how tight the serving are, that basically puts out how much that string cable set is going to cost. And of course, if you have the overhead of a brick and mortar shop, a whole bunch of employees, health insurance and everything, that goes into the cost of string cables. So these local mom and pop deals, I can make some really impressive string cable sets for about 90 to 120 bucks. And that's where these sit in. They're about $100 to $110 depending on what you want to pay for. Mine's a 2 or 3 piece set, which is on the cheaper side than if you had a 4, 5 or a 7 piece set, like if you shot one of the new Prime bows that has 7 strings and cables on it. Because it's 2 to 3 piece set, 100 bucks, and I'm using the Bloodline bowstring manufacturer's bowstring fiber. Now you can also get them from Craig in 452X, which is a BCY material, which is my personal favorite. I have always used 452X. Most of the manufacturers that are out there that are making string cables are using 452X. And it's a really stable, very low fuzz, low abrasion bowstring material. It's also usually a little bit quieter than some of your faster materials, which is why I was hesitant to use this, because the Bloodline stuff claims that you gain feet per second with using this material on your bow. And I'm always hesitant of that sort of type of stuff, because usually that means you're using thinner strands, thinner fibers, and makes your bow louder. Sure, you gain the feet per second, but it just doesn't have the same smooth feel. This was completely different. Craig put this set together and he used clear serving for my cure and kind of like a cinnamon bark type look. It's got a nice flecked white to it. Looks like a really nice, clean, well done serving job. The bundles are just perfect. Everything came together really nicely. But with my cure and with the Victory is using the EZV right now. I actually had to upgrade the disc inside, right? So the disc of the EZV is based off feet per second. I was on the border between the 260 and the 270 disc. I definitely had to bump up to the 270 disc because I gained feet per second. I didn't lose, however, any of that smooth feel that I've been getting with 452X. And I also didn't lose any of the nice, quiet, vibe-free feel that I get with using 452X and a heavier arrow setup. The same thing's true with the cure. Of my CBE Engage Hybrid 3-pin, I actually had to close my pin gaps a little bit between 30 and 40 in particular. That's pretty cool without any sacrifice in the smoothness or the sound or how tight the servings are. I don't have to wax it continuously. It has that nice next-gen coating on it. It's actually a real, almost feels like a plasticky slick to it. It's really nice. No fraying whatsoever. I'm very impressed with how these string cables came together. It is just raining acorns. So that's enough geeky talk about the fiber. Let's talk about the actual build of the string cables themselves. The servings are done really, really well. Lots of attention to detail. The specs were dead nuts perfect right out of the package. Usually with the string cable set, no matter what the manufacturer, whether it's on the cheap end or the expensive end, usually have to put some twists into a cable or two to get the bow back into time. Maybe add a whole bunch of twists, half twists to get your peep to come around straight. That is not uncommon or unusual or unprofessional. I put a lot of string cables on a lot of different boats from a lot of different manufacturers, working in the shop and doing it here in my own house. And I've always had to fiddle around with the string cables just to get it right, because just because the specs are one thing doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect right out of the package. This, however, was the first time with my Cure, the very first time ever that I put a set of string cables on, and it was dead nuts perfect. The timing was perfect with the first draw of the bow. I put the peep in. I needed a half twist into the string. That was it. There are certain strings from certain manufacturers that I'll have to sit there, put the peep in, draw the bow a whole bunch of times on the draw board at the shop or at home, draw it a whole bunch of times on the draw board, and then just keep twisting and twisting and twisting the string to get the peep to come around straight, because the bundles need to settle. The bundles were set perfectly with this string cable set. I did not have to do any more than just one half twist of the string, and it has stayed there. I put several hundred arrows through this Cure, through this new set of string cables from Wicked Threads, and I haven't had any stretch whatsoever in terms of the cam timing. It is still dead nuts perfect. That is very impressive. Now, whether that's Craig and his attention to detail, which I think, judging on the servings and the adjustments and the measurements of everything, is definitely his attention to detail, but also that bloodline fiber, that is really impressive. Brand new fiber onto the market to hold that much stability. Now, with my Victory, I'm not going to blame it on Craig, or like I said, every manufacturer that I've ever worked with. The Victory, I did need 2 twists into one cable. Not that uncommon. I needed a full twist into the string. Now, my Victory, this is something I want to bring up that I had never seen before from a manufacturer, and I'm actually really intrigued why Craig did it, and I'm actually really, really liking it so far. So with the string and cable, when you get a string, right, usually I like the 2 color strings, right? It's nice so I know what my bundles are, right? So if you have a 24 strand string or a 24 strand cable, whatever it is, you get 12 of one color, 12 of the other. They're put together and twisted, right? So you know when you go put your peep in, that if you get all the color on one side and all the color on the other side, you know you're right in the middle of the string, and that allows it to be as stable as possible. Well, you can also, if you have a solid color string, you could just count the strands, right? So if you have black and you lose the center, you could count 12 on one side and 12 on the other. When I got my Victory set, I got it with the Cure as well, but I ignored it. I thought maybe it was just kind of a builder error, but then when I got it again with the Victory, I realized that I was actually causing the error. When I got these strings, the serving that's put through the center, right? So that way you know where the center is, and that's true of any manufacturer. They'll put a piece of serving or rubber band or something through the center of the strands of the string, so that way you know where to put your peep. When I pulled these strings out of the package, that piece of serving was actually not between both colors. It actually divided the strands into 2 pairs of 6. So in this Vader black and green set, it was 6 strands of green, 6 strands of black, 6 strands of green, 6 strands of black. And I didn't actually realize that. I just pulled it out, split it to black and green, and then just shot it, and it's been doing great. However, over here, with this stone gray and brown sugar set from Bloodline, it was again right through the center, and I was like, this seems weird. But let me go ahead and put my peep in through the center with an even number of both colors on both sides. And what it did blew my mind. It actually brought the peep with the same color on both sides of the peep, which means when I come to full draw in a lower light situation, because I'm using the brown sugar, the really bright, more of that light brown, almost got a deep yellow hue to it. When I pull up my peep in a low light situation, I can see the outside edge of my peep because this 2 exact same color strands are on either side. I'm not a solid string shooter, so I've never seen this before. Some guys, you might shoot flow yellow or flow orange or flow green or something like that. Whenever I shot a solid black strand, I never would see it because it would just disappear in the dark, either in the early morning or in the late evening, right when that deer shows up. But ever since I did this split and I put it on either side, my peep clarity is amazing in low light. So whether you shoot wicked threads or not, I strongly recommend you try this out. I'm actually, once the season's over, I'm gonna take this peep out and I'm gonna put the green, split both colors equally on both sides and put green on either side. So that when my peep comes back straight, I have this perfect V of green with that perfect black in the center. It'll really center everything up with a nice glowing ring of either the EZV or the CBE Engage Hybrid 3-pin. Line everything up, and my accuracy in the low light, in particular my right eye has been going recently, my accuracy just gets so much better. So hats off to Craig. I don't know if that was an accident or if I really just had an epiphany, but that is a really, really, really well done. I'm really liking it so far, and I think I'm gonna continue to do all my strings that way. So just like all the products that I'm reviewing, I'm not getting paid a dime to say any of this. These are just simply my observations. Craig, like I said, sent me the first set, and I liked him so much, I bought the second. I'm gonna continue to buy string cables from him. The product is just too good. The quality so far has been outstanding. I don't see any reason to change. So if you're interested in yourself buying a set of string cables from Craig, and particularly right now during this time of COVID, everybody's kind of backed up right now, all the major manufacturers. But right now, Craig's turnaround time is about 7 to 10 days. That's pretty darn quick, if not even faster. So I'm very pleased with it so far, and if you have any interest in buying a set yourself, follow the links in the description below over to Craig's website. And if you have any questions for me about it, you can follow those links as well. Send me a Facebook message, Instagram DM, send me an email, or even leave a comment here on YouTube. So I hope you're able to get outside, enjoy the sport of archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful, sunshiny, acorn raining pre-rut creation, and we'll get to see you next time.